Hi guys, my name is Philip Bonfanti and today I'm at the TB Golf Studio in Swanage on the south coast of England, and I'm in the company of junior golfer Tom, who is a scratch golfer. Today we are going to discuss hitting the ball further, something that we all want to do. Now very often I hear people say that in order to hit the ball further you mustn't hit excessively downwards on the golf ball, and this is very true. And it's not uncommon for me to see golfers who hit 5, even sometimes 10 degrees down on the golf ball. Now what I'd like you to understand is that very often this is linked to golfers slicing the golf ball. It's linked to golfers with a swing direction for right-handers that goes to the left. Let's have a look. In this table we have a number of tour players whose data and swings are available through the TrackMan software, and what I have done is I have plotted their attack angle and their swing direction. And as you look at the top left hand side, you can see the players with the most positive attack angle on those particular shots, and all the way to the bottom right, players who have the most negative downwards attack angle. And you can clearly see this correlation. The more upwards the attack angle, the more the swing direction tends to be positive, tends to be to the right for the right hander, and the more the attack angle tends to be negative, downwards, the more the swing direction tends to go to the left. So very important to see here that it's not a strict one-to-one relationship, but it's a pattern that you do see repeated over and over. And if we represent this data in graph form, which we have here, you can see again those little dots. You've got a very definite rising curve. As the swing direction moves to the right, the attack angle becomes more and more upwards. As we've seen, there's a strong correlation between attack angle and swing direction. I make the analogy that it's a little bit like either coming down onto the back of a ball vertically like a helicopter, or coming into the back of a ball smoothly like a jumbo jet coming in for landing. So if you demonstrate the typical slicer with a very negative attack angle, very downwards attack angle, so the left arm pitches out, club shaft is vertical. As the club head nears the ball, it's still very high up in the air, very late on. If you demonstrate this from face on, left arm pitches out, club shaft is vertical, club head is far from the ground, very late on. This is the helicopter landing. That's that leftward swing direction, steep attack angle. Now if we demonstrate the opposite, so conversely, you're the golfer with the more rightward swing direction, so more typically associated with more of a draw. Club shaft is more in. The club head is going to approach the golf ball from a much more level position, so the club head is much closer to the ground much sooner. So that's your jumbo jet landing. Same thing from face on. And the club head is much closer to the ground much sooner, a much more shallow attack angle. Typically, when golfers hear they need to shallow out their attack angle, they try and do 3 things. And to my mind, these can all be very detrimental to the goal they're actually trying to achieve. What is something a golfer could try and do, Tom, to hit the ball with a more shallow attack angle?
Ball forward.
Ball forward, so you demonstrate. So if you're in position there, and you progressively put your ball more and more forwards in your stance, you can see there from down the line, Tom's shoulders are pointing more and more to the left in a more and more open position. Now this is most conducive to swinging across the golf ball, which could lead to that downward hit. What's something else golfers typically try and do to hit up?
Hands back.
They have their hands back, exactly. So they'll have the club shaft leaning backwards like this away from the target. And when the club shaft is in this position, again this predisposes the golfer to swinging across the golf ball with a more downward hit. What's the last one? You see it all the time. What do golfers do?
Putting their weight back.
Yes, exactly. They put their weight back in an effort to try and somehow hit the ball higher, have a more shallow attack angle. And again, having the hips and the head back behind the ball are 2 moves, 2 things, elements that lead to a leftward swing direction, to more of that downwards hit in a slice. So the question now becomes, how do you shallow out your attack angle? I want you to concentrate on 3 moves that will enable you to do this by shifting your swing direction a little bit more to the right. So the first thing we're going to do is I want you to set up with your hinges a couple of inches forwards and your handle forwards. So you put yourself in a setup position and your hips have come laterally forwards a couple of inches, and you have your left arm club form a straight line. This is building in a more rightward swing direction from the setup. So that's the first thing. The second thing you're going to try and do, Tom, is you're going to swing your hands on an arc going inwards during the backswing. So rather than have the club and the hands go in a straight line backwards like so, the hands are actually going to take a diagonal path inwards like this alignment stick. So make sure you swing inwards. Again, from there you'll have your best chance of making that smooth jumbo jet landing into the back of the ball. And the final thing you're going to try and do is raise the belt. What do I mean by raise the belt? If you're in position here and you get yourself to when the club shaft is parallel to the ground in the downswing, your belt buckle here is perhaps 32 inches away from the ground. As Tom comes through the ball, he's going to straighten his knees, make his belt buckle raise, so he's straightening the legs, puffing out the chest, in order to shallow out the attack angle. So the thought he has as he's coming through the ball is when he's going to raise his belt. So his belt, that was perhaps 32 inches away from the ground, has now risen to 35 inches from the ground. So these three things that I'd like you to work on are: 1, hips forwards, handle forwards; 2, hands in, tracing an arc; and 3, making sure you raise the belt and extend as you come through the ball. If you have any questions, please let me know, and by all means go and seek out your local TrackMan professional who will be able to guide you in these matters. Thank you.